мира. И сейчас я предоставляю слово профессору Иза Фин, доктору наук, доценту кафедры международного права, международных отношений Ионического университета. Господин Сотирис, вы готовы? Мы не перевели?
Yes, okay. I was expecting my PowerPoint. Okay, this is it. Good afternoon. My PowerPoint is entitled "The New Middle East Challenges and Perspectives After 8 Months of War." Okay, this is how does it change?
Just a second.
Okay. Okay. It all started, I'm talking about the Gaza war, but I think that it is not one war. We have many parallel wars. And as we shall say, the main question is if we have one war or many wars, or how we can characterize the war in Gaza. So it all started on 7th of October 2023. It's like the 9/11 of Israel and Middle East. And we have a change of narrative, of discourse from the start. Previously, we had a very apologetic, we can say, stance of Hamas, an effort to explain the violence, to apologize sometimes for the violence. And now we have an ISIS-like act of defiance, where jihadism has absorbed all values, all principles of Islam, and we have an act of violence that speaks of itself. Hamas has appeared from the start as a defining force of the discourse of the war. Previously, no one talked about, we can say, about Palestine, about Gaza, and we have a change from the start. Now we are all talking about Gaza, about the fate of the Palestinians. So I think this, from the start, is a big success, we can say, of Hamas. Could we be talking about a war? We have wars between states. We have wars between armies. Here we don't have two states. We have one state and one entity. We have one state with its military, and we have one entity with a political branch, a political government linked to an organization characterized as a terrorist organization. Could we be talking about war? Could we be talking about a guerrilla war, about counter-insurgency, about a campaign of extermination? A lot of legal experts are talking about genocide. In genocide, the crucial element is intent. So legally, is the intent of Israel to genocide, to exterminate all Palestinians, all inhabitants of Gaza? This is a very crucial question. If we look at the facts, we can see that maybe we are not talking about genocide, maybe we are talking about national cleansing, about an effort to push all inhabitants of Gaza away from their homes to other regions. We don't have one war, we have many sides and many phases of war, many fields of war. We have parallel wars in Lebanon, in West Bank. We have a strife with Iran, in Syria, in Yemen. And Israel is always talking about not genocide, of course, not national cleansing, but about strikes against Hamas officials and strikes against Hamas militants. From the side of Hamas, Hamas says that we have 50,021 dead, at least. It equates to about 2% of the population of the territory, 2.3 million, or around 1 in 46. The Gaza Government Information Office speaks about at least 62,000 people. including 17,492 children, more than 111,588 people injured, and missing and presumed dead more than 14,222. Israeli attacks have damaged almost all of Gaza's homes, 80% of commercial facilities, 88% of school buildings, 50% of hospitals are partially functional. Partially is a question. What they are talking about is what partial. 68% of road networks, 68% of cropland. Israeli military has issued more than 65 evacuation orders, leaving about 8% of the Gaza Strip under active evacuation orders. 232 journalists are listed dead, an average of 13 per week, more than all these wars. But of course, all this data are debated by Israel. Israel says that most of these journalists are not journalists, that they were Hamas officials or Hamas militants, and they were posed or they were in the guise of journalists. Of course, when we are talking about Gaza, we must have the image of a hugely densely populated area. So it's a very densely populated area, and you understand that when you are dropping bombs, there is a huge problem, and all these bombs that are huge bombs, and some of them are forbidden legally. These are the areas of Gaza, and these are the areas affected by the evacuation orders. And you can understand that all these evacuation orders have as an effect that all the population of Gaza is on the move all the time. This is a map of Gaza, of the control of Israel in its waters and airspace. So Gaza is separated in 5 zones. North Gaza, Gaza City, which is the most hugely densely populated, Deir al-Balah, Han Yunis, and Rafah. And all these areas are affected by the war, and all the population of Gaza is on the move all the time. On the other side, on the side of Israel, we have 1,200 Israelis killed, most of them killed on the 7th of October. Again, we have a talk about who of them was a military target or who were civilians. Israel says that most of them were civilians. Hamas says that they are not civilians. At least 8,730 injured. And this is a first for the Israel also. Israel was affected by the war, has been very much affected by the war. It was obliged to move large numbers of Jewish residents from their homes, especially in the borders near Lebanon, in the north and in the south, some 150,000 citizens, and relocated them to other areas. Israeli army has recruited at a high cost nearly 300,000 troops. So this is not only a military toll, but also an economic toll for Israel. It has used vast quantities of weapons, which translates into significant costs for the defense ministry. We have a lot of dead, we have a lot of injured, and also we have many military with physical and psychological disabilities. So this affects Israeli society in its core. We have also the decline in Israel's economic growth, and the cost of war may be calculated at about $82 billion for Israel. In other areas, we have at least 905 people killed in the occupied West Bank, including at least 181 children. more than 7,370 people, and 3,000 killed in Lebanon. You understand that these are not only numbers. We're talking about human lives that affects, all these numbers affect families, affect communities, affect society in its whole. So the other phases of war, it is what I'm calling the parallel wars of the war. One parallel war is the legal war, what Israel characterizes like lawfare, like warfare. It's talking about lawfare, that all the legal experts, all the legal organizations are against it. So it talks about lawfare. And there's a big effort to define the notion of genocide. Is it genocide? Is it national cleansing? What is the intent of Israel? We have also a parallel war, in brackets, about anti-Semitism. Israel characterizes all the expressions of support for the Palestinians, for Gaza, as anti-Semitic acts. And we have the paradox of Israel linking sometimes with the far right which is racially anti-Semitic, because it says that it is pro-Israel, pro-the state, for the state of Israel. So we are for them and against all the others who may not be racially anti-Semitic, but are against the state of Israel. So we have a change of notions. We have big debates about what is in reality anti-Semitism. We have also a war, in brackets, for the heart of Islam, who can define Islam, who can speak for Islam. We have in Saudi Arabia people contradicting the Shia Islam of Tehran, of Iran. So we have a lot of intellectual parallel wars. In the American campuses, in the European campuses, we have a lot of protests against the war. We have big debates about the freedom of expression. I'm sure that most of you know the case of the dean of Harvard University, who was obliged to resign because he talked about the freedom and the liberty of expression about Israel. We can talk about Israel, we can talk about the right of Palestinians to defend themselves. So when she was asked, how do you define this right? Is there a right to kill Israelis? And she answered, all depends on the context. And after that, there was a lot of talk about people protesting against her and paralleling the Mein context to the Mein Kampf of Hitler, Mein context. So it's a big debate, and it's a very heated debate about all these things. And of course, we have the lawfare in the International Criminal Court with the case of South Africa against Israel, and of course, Turkey taking the side of South Africa. We have also an intellectual, you can say, war between the global South and the global North, for Israel, for Palestine, for genocide, for anti-Semitism, for all these things. If we are going to talk about the prospects of peace, this is a very, very, very difficult equation. We can say it is an impossible equation, because Israel is taking out Hamas as an element of the negotiation, of the talks about peace. And it is a very difficult thing to talk about Gaza today without Hamas. It's a very difficult thing. Gaza has taken roots in the Gazan society, and all this war and all this death, I think that it has brought an adverse results, different results than those that Israel has hoped for. I think that these roots of Hamas have expanded and have not been cut off. If we are going to, regarding the Palestinian society, we have huge currents of social unrest. Palestinian society was already traumatized before. Okay, it's not a peaceful society, you can understand that. All this oppression has taken its toll, but we have also a traumatized Israel society, an Israel society which has gone to the extremes. We have a huge influence of fundamentalist Zionism, of ultra-right, of religious right. So all these things have influenced the region, and I think that there are very, very little prospects of real peace. Okay, we can be talking about these things many more hours, but I don't think that I have a lot of time. We have to see the different countries' roles. We can have to see Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iran, Turkey, the role of the United States, and I finish here because, unfortunately, the EU has not a clear policy, again, for these matters, and has been left out of the whole game by deciding just to follow the USA. Thank you very much.
Да, огромное спасибо. Тема невероятно сложная. Поэтому мы еще к Ближнему Востоку мы еще сегодня будем не раз обращаться.